Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Aries for September 2016. Go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com. You can see what's new on my blog. Also, if you would love to hang out with me at a wonderful destination for my first ever spiritual retreat, my Soul Connections spiritual retreat, check out my website for more details about my upcoming fall retreat, my very first one. So what's going on in the month of September? I'm calling the theme of this month the triad of transformation. We've got eclipses, we have Mercury retrograde, and we have the final square between Saturn and Neptune. That's been going on for a little over a year. Also, in addition to our triad of transformation, we have Jupiter moving into Libra. And I will talk more about this in the October report because there's not as much that I have to get to, and I can give it the due time that it needs, but I do want to mention it because it is a very big deal that's going on in September as well. So before I go and get into some of the general implications of the transits, I want to talk specifically about things that will likely come up for Aries particularly. With all the eclipse energies, we have the general eclipses, so that's the Virgo Pisces continuum, and everyone feels those global effects. And I'll talk about what those are after. But where the signs are, we feel specific to our sign. Now, because Aries has what's called a natural chart, meaning all of the signs are in their houses that they match with, so we always feel everything and do everything to the nth degree. That's part of why we're the way we are. So when we have a solar eclipse in the sign of Virgo, we're also having a solar eclipse in the house of Virgo. So that's like doing double duty for the themes that are going on there. So I'll talk about some of the general implications later, and I'm going to get down into some nitty-gritty stuff. One note here, if you are a late degree Aries placement, so if your birthday is like in the last week of the sign or so, a week to 10 days even, or if you're watching for your rising sign, if it's like 20 to 29 degrees, how these eclipses behave will look more like the Taurus report. So I recommend you listen to both, but know that what I'm describing here, some of the energies will be present for you because the personal planets are going to be moving into the sectors that I'm discussing, so you might see some of this. But as a supplement specific for your little section of Aries, if you watch the Taurus report and listen to the early Taurus eclipse description, then that's going to be true for you as well. Okay, so we have a massive amount of energy clustered in Virgo. There's the new moon with the solar eclipse. There's the sun. There's Mercury, Venus. There's Jupiter, which is a long-term transit, and that's ending in September. Then we have transiting North Node. All of these energies are in the sign of Virgo. For us, they're also in the house of Virgo. The house of Virgo has to do with our health, our diet, our regimen, our work experience, office dynamics, what we do every day, our routine or lack of it, our structure and discipline and organization or lack of it, anything having to do with organization, focus, details, etc. You can also check out my new moon in Virgo, how to make powerful new moon in Virgo wishes on that blog on my website that I just posted. So in any case, this new opening of energy in the health, we've had this theme of opening for health because Jupiter has been in the 6th house. And I've been talking a lot about health and diet and meditation and the regimen. But I want to add a little something else, another tidbit that I have recently learned that is going to help so many of you. I've been talking about some different aspects of health and healing. When people feel good, it's easier to be happy. It's easier to be in your highest expression. It's easier to do well with your relationships. It's easier to do everything. When you're not feeling well, when you're sick, when you've got something going on that you can't pinpoint, it interferes with everything in your life. So the many mysterious challenges to health are being brought up by this Jupiter and Virgo transit. And another piece that I've discovered has to do with your oral health. I have known, and maybe you know, that they say that the key to your optimum health has to do with your digestion. So basically, if your digestive tract is working well, then your health should usually follow. What I realized, and I don't know how I was missing this, is that your digestion starts in your mouth. So although, like many people, I've flossed every day, I do the brushing I'm supposed to do, etc., I did not realize that there could be other problems that are going on in your gums that could be interfering with your health. So if you have not been to the dentist in a while, this eclipse and this energy coming up might mean it's time to go to the dentist. Dentists are not just for cavities. Gingivitis, periodontal disease, is a very real thing. When the dentist told me that I needed to have some scaling done, I thought that that was a ploy to get money because I've gotten suspicious of mainstream medicine. But something was telling me intuitively that I needed to look into this. Now, look at the connection here. When you have extra bacteria breeding in your gums, it goes right into your bloodstream. That's why you can take a sublingual medication and it just goes right into your bloodstream. You've got a straight shot right into your bloodstream. So the veins that come from your mouth go down and go everywhere. People not keeping up with their periodontal health can have negative effects with their cardiovascular system. They can have negative effects with their digestive systems. So the answer, one of the missing pieces here for you might be to get dental scaling. If you have a heart condition, you might need to pre-medicate with antibiotics. I am not into antibiotics, but if you have something like that goes on, I would highly recommend that you bring it in. It's just one dose. So things like this are what we're focusing on. It's basically the energies want to open up something new in your health. They want to open up something new with how you work. If you have been out of work, the solar eclipse could bring in a new job. If you don't like your job, the solar eclipse can bring in a better job. If you're self-employed, the solar eclipse can bring in more money, more business, more clients. If you're trying to start a business, the solar eclipse energy can help you do that. And if you have not liked how your work routine is, or you're trying to improve your daily experience of work and play and life, the solar eclipse wants to help. So it's very, 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 very exciting because this eclipse cycle, which started at the beginning of 2015 and goes into 2017, is trying to rework how you do things. It's trying to make you work smarter, not harder, where you can do less and make more. I've been talking about recently this book, The 4-Hour Work Week, one of my new favorite books, very inspiring. There's a lot that can be gleaned from this book, and really just the idea. I also talked about the importance of clearing up your space. So anything that you can do that makes your life more efficient, gets you organized, gets you where you can do less and it goes further, that's the theme for now. That's what really wants to happen. It's possible that you've been avoiding some tests or other medical things that you need to take care of. Those are other things that you might have to address with this eclipse. So for the solar eclipse, that's bringing in new energy. The lunar eclipse closes out old energy. And for us, that energy is being closed out in the 12th house. And again, if you're a very late degree placement or a late degree placement, this might be 11th house for you. So listen to the Taurus explanation of what goes on there. But when there's energy closing out in the 12th house, that's the house of fears. So it could be that you are terrified to get these certain tests or get a checkup or go to the dentist or whatever, do something like that. And by facing that fear head on and doing it anyway, you're bringing the things into your life that you want to bring in, and you're conquering a fear at the same time. So there's some sort of closing, some sort of ending in your fears, in your deep issues, in something that was limiting you. Now, as I'm saying this, I'm smiling and I'm excited for the opportunity, but the experience of it is sometimes a little bit less happy at the time, because when you're facing fears, it's not fun and it really can be scary, You have to kind of come up right with something in your face and deal with it. And so this lunar eclipse very likely will bring something up in your face to deal with, old fears. Your fears are limiting you. So the more you can confront them and the more that you can clear them, the less limited you will be and the more you can step into your fullest expression, your highest expression in this lifetime. For some of you, it might mean that you're more busy at work And so that energy of rest or sabbatical that also the 12th house represents could close. So you could have some time off and then the eclipse closes that and then it makes you busy again. You know, there's a lot of different ways that this can manifest. So these are things that are specific for Aries for the month of September. I'm calling the month of September, the general theme of the month of September for all signs, the triad of transformation. There are 3 events occurring this month: the eclipses, Mercury retrograde, and the final Saturn-Neptune square, that each on their own have their own story and potentials for change. But when converging together, they bring just massive opportunities for alchemy. So I'm going to break these down into their sections. Eclipses are powerful astronomical and astrological events that occur twice a year. We call them the spring eclipses and the fall eclipses. Of course, if you're down under, that would be opposite. So this fall eclipse for you is your spring eclipse set. But in any case, the eclipses change trajectories. From the astrological standpoint, they change trajectories. So if you're hoping for or supposed to be doing something over here, but you're on this track, it jostles you sufficiently to move your trajectory. And so the amount of force that is necessary to take your path and change it is equal to the amount of force that the eclipses will come with. Sometimes there just needs to be a little adjustment. Sometimes there needs to be a major adjustment in the form of something very life-changing to get people on track. Sometimes the news comes with eclipses that is unwelcome. Sometimes it comes just as the best thing that you could ever hear, and sometimes these things happen both at the same time. Eclipses run in cycles, and the cycle that we're working on now is the Pisces-Virgo eclipse, the Pisces-Virgo polarity. This polarity started in the spring of 2015, or you could say the fall of 2015 for people down under. And the way that this works is the eclipse polarities run over a period of time. These run into spring of 2017. And there's a 4 to 6 month integration rate. So we'll say until almost the end of October of 2017 is when this full storyline is rolling out. So the eclipses work on a certain sector of your life. They work on the general sector for the signs, the Virgo Pisces, and then we talked about for your sign specific what the themes were for the houses. Now, the whole time that these eclipses are occurring, it's taking pieces, working on a project, and moving you along the continuum. So, on September 1st, we have the solar eclipse 9 degrees of Virgo. This eclipse is actually also squaring Saturn, which adds a little bit of a challenging edge to it. Then we have the lunar eclipse on September 16th at 24 degrees of Pisces, and that is conjunct Chiron, which is adding another intense element to it. Solar eclipses tend to bring in new energy. They're new portals of energy that are open. And with the energy of Virgo, this is coming in as new chances to work more efficiently, new chances to have more work if you needed work, or less work if you were working too much, or improvements in your work-life situation. They can also bring major radical changes to your health, to your diet, to your lifestyle. They can bring changes involving pets and animals in your relationship with pets and animals. So something new opening in those sectors. The lunar eclipse on September 16th at 24 degrees of Pisces is eclipsing something out. It's ending something, it's completing something, it's bringing something to fruition. The fact that it's conjunct Chiron is bringing this opportunity to end the victim mentality. And this is a huge one. This is part of the human condition that people who are consciously evolving are choosing to step out of. The victim mentality is the belief that life is happening to you, that there's nothing that you can do to make your life better, the quality of your experience better, and that people are doing things to you. And then that fits in with the guilt, blame, shame cycle. and that is the cycle of disempowerment. That's the cycle of the victim. Chiron, the asteroid that is conjunct this lunar eclipse, is all about the woundedness. It's called the wounded healer. So any places you're most wounded, and whether you believe in past lives and it comes from there, or whether it's from this lifetime only, it doesn't matter where it comes from. It matters that you have a deep woundedness, and maybe it's the collective consciousness woundedness that you're picking up. Maybe it's your own soul's woundedness, whatever it is. This lunar eclipse is giving a chance to eradicate woundedness, which is very exciting because we are completely limited by our belief that life is happening to us. By using astrology and other tools as opportunities for conscious evolution, improving the quality of your life, we can't control what's going to happen. There are things that are going to happen that are beyond our say, and things have their cycles, and that's the way things are in this plane. But at the same time, we have 100% control over how we see things, how we change our quality of experience. And you do this by ending the victim mentality, by looking inside of yourself for the answers instead of blaming someone or circumstances. So many of the things that will have an opportunity to end with the lunar eclipses have to do with addictions, fears. The 12th house, which rules Pisces, where this eclipse is in sign, has to do with your deepest fears, your deepest habits, your deepest negative conditioning. So ending something in that sector. There's also a theme from things being hit, from moving hidden things into the seen realms. Movement of Pisces over to Virgo is taking something from the unseen realm and putting it into the seen realm, from the thought or feeling section and putting it into manifestation, into form. There's also a theme from formlessness, abstract thoughts and ideas, to form. So it's a major, major manifestation portal to take things from here and bring them out here. So while all of this is going on, you may notice that if you follow storylines that have happened since the beginning of 2015, you're in process. And this is not the end of the cycle. We're still in process. So while it might seem like there's a definitive end to certain things, certain other things will take well into 2017 to really, really move to their integration. But we're at another important point here of that continuum. At the same time as the eclipses are occurring, we have Mercury retrograde. We hear about Mercury retrograde 3 to 4 times a year, and it can get, boring. We don't want to hear about Mercury retrograde anymore, maybe. But the fact that it's happening during the eclipse season is very, very strongly bringing up this story of the earthworm. I always think of the earthworm when I think about Mercury retrograde, because the earthworm just goes over old ground, and that's the theme totem animal in Ted Andrews' animal deck. I love Ted Andrews' work. And he talks about the earthworm working old ground, and that's what I think of when I think of retrogrades. So when Mercury retrograde comes up, which that went retrograde August 30th through September 21st or 22nd, depending on your time zone. And then the shadow periods stretched out, started about August 10th, and then stretch at the tail end until about October 7th. But once it's direct, every day that Mercury gets stronger, you'll feel it, and it's not until October 7th that it regains full strength, but it doesn't mean you can't take some action before then, because that's going to become an open window for taking action. This eclipse time of September is not the time to take action unless it is forced by the eclipses. If there's any way you can put off making your decisions, making your plans into the last week of September, at least if possible, then it's going to be a little bit easier for you. Because of the Mercury retrograde cycle, it lends itself to short-term arrangements. So let's say some news comes in from the eclipses and you have to do something different. You have to make an arrangement. Try to make those arrangements temporary. Something like a 6-month lease on a house, a 6-month contract, something month to month, or something that has some flexibility in what you're agreeing to, because the Mercury aspect of it tells us that some aspects of what's coming in may have a shorter shelf life and may still be in process. So you can see more about Mercury retrograde, the do's, the don'ts, and such by looking for my Mercury retrograde video. If you search for Annie Botticelli and put in Mercury retrograde, then you can find that there. So the third aspect of this triad of transformation is the final square between Saturn and Neptune. Saturn is the bringer of form, and Neptune is the ruler of Pisces, which is this unseen, hidden realm. So there's a big theme, and you're hearing it come in through the eclipses, you're hearing it come in through the Saturn-Neptune, of form versus formlessness, of, the things that you can see and the things that you can't see. And for many people who are doing spiritual work, you can't see a lot of those things. They're not as tangible. But to those of us that dwell in those realms, they're just as real as the things that you can see in front of you. I always think of the idea of cell phones. Nobody ever questions, looking at a cell phone and you're calling someone across the world. You can't see how that's going on. You can't see the cell phone beaming up to the satellite, and whatever else that goes on there. You can't see it, but you trust that it's happening because you see that it's happening. And there are many, 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 many things that we can't see that are real, that are totally real. And the journey of humanity into these lesser seen realms is part of this clash between Saturn and Neptune. It's telling the story of the battle of the seen and the unseen, the formlessness. So we started this square cycle November 2015. We had the second run in June of 2016, and now this is the final theme. So again, there could be a theme running here of creating a bridge. In my mind, neither one is right. The form and the formlessness, neither is right. They both are real and they both are valid. And so it's up to us to transcend. And we can transcend by building a bridge between the worlds, a bridge between the answers, leaving room for all of it to be right, and finding the ways where we can use all of it for our full multi-dimensional highest expression in this lifetime. So those are the three things that are going on. There's something else, and of course there are lesser aspects. You can always get more information about the lesser aspects that are going on that I don't mention in the horoscopes when you sign up for my free email newsletter. If you go to anniehelpsyou.com, on my front page you can sign up for my free email newsletter, and I write dates to notes and general themes, and I send that out a month before the month that it's talking about, so that you can see what good days, for things for your planning purposes. Something else very noteworthy this month that I'm going to go into way more detail in October is Jupiter changing signs. It's moving into Libra, and so it's been expanding and bringing growth and opportunities in Jupiter for a year, and now it's going to bring mischief and miracles into the house or the sign of relationships. So I'm going to talk about how that will affect your sign specifically and more details about Jupiter next month, because we already had so much to focus on in September. So I hope that you have a wonderful month. If you're interested in learning astrology with me, there might be a few slots left in my astrology apprenticeship program. You can see that on my website, anniehelpsyou.com. I always have new blogs there all the time. I also have my Creating Successful Online Business course if you want to take your light work into the international realms and not be geographically tied. And I have my new Soul Connections destination retreats that are starting. So you can check out more information about my first retreat for this fall. And I hope that you have a wonderful month. I'll see you next month. Bye.